When did you get back from Russia?
Friday.
What's the food like?
Interesting.
They probably take you to the really good places for the good, because we get a lot of nice Russian food around here, and Bosnians, by the way, have food that's probably somewhat similar. Maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of good things that were very tasty, and then there were things that were questioning, what really this is, unique to the culture. And the one thing that they did present that I was reluctant to engage in was horse meat. So that was
horse meat, really. It's funny how
which they just refer to as beef.
You can be tricked with that.
And we had to make a differentiation between what type of beef.
It is funny, though, how just based on culture, obviously we eat beef. Cows, go to India and try that.
Right.
I mean, depending on where you are, and I hate to say, but, goat and dog and cat and that sort of, depending on where you are in the world, they don't look at things the way we do. Vodka, not cold, though, right?
Called Russian water there.
Yeah.
And, yes, not served room temperature, not mixed in any way, served straight. Some very interesting, some good vodka, obviously, because it's made there, and it's something that is a staple there. They do not serve alcohol on Aeroflot, though, which is kind of interesting. No, they do not serve at all. So
on airplanes, you say?
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
That's Russian.
You cannot.
It's reserved for the pilots. Only the pilots get the cocktail. Yeah. Wow.
That's
So, what flight did you take over there?
we took an Aeroflot flight.
How long was that flight?
About 10 hours.
So 10 hours, no alcohol. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could handle it.
Hey, actually, the electronic system wasn't working either, so you couldn't watch anything on television in certain sections of the plane. So that made it interesting.
What was the wooden box like you were sitting on? was that comfortable?
They're very congenial. It's still outfitted much like we would back in the 50s here. Like the flight attendants wear uniforms and things of that nature, and. Very friendly, a long flight, a 7-hour difference in time. It was a joint delegation that went over, and I was asked to participate. We do this at our own expense. It's not at state or taxpayers' dollars. And as you know, we even tried to, we talked to you about
next
it.
Next time, we're going to do this next time.
We bring not only elected officials, but some business people that come on, and we discuss education issues, cultural issues, economic issues, where there can be some collaboration. Obviously, this was a little more guarded because of the situation and circumstances regarding both of our nations currently.
Yeah, right now it is so tense. All right, Joe, so Russia. It had to be, the topic had to be Trump and the fixing of the election and the Hillary and did it happen, didn't it happen? I mean, that had to be a conversation.
We tried to stay away from some of the federal issues and tried to stay on a regional thing. But obviously we met with some of their federal officials as well as local officials like the mayor of Moscow and some of their business people and some of the regional. We actually met with the president of the Republic of Tatarstan, which is one of the cities we visited, Kazan, which is the third largest city in the Russian Federation. But, yeah, there was some general interest. The most... one of the aspects that I found intriguing, though, was mainly the residents, the normal citizens there, are really do not bear any malice towards Americans, and really were intrigued by America and Americans. So when you got below the government level and talked to people, that were working there or that were just living there, and you would have not always run into them, but occasionally you'd have that opportunity because we were obviously escorted in many ways, around for a number of reasons, in my opinion, to obviously make sure we were seeing what they wanted us to see, but also...
but it's not like the Soviet Union anymore. I mean, this is a free country where there are products that they get to...
That's interesting.
Media they get to experience, right?
Well, they're experiencing capitalism, you know, but it's a variation, I would say. In fact, when you talked about it's more democratic, I would call it a controlled democracy.
Right.
So there's still some elements there that are not like it would be here, obviously.
When you think about it, and they were better off, for a time anyway, and probably even today, they were better off under the Soviet Union. I mean, once democracy hit, all of a sudden everything split, And it became very chaotic. Democracy is not an easy thing when you've been living under the iron fist all those years.
It's a great thing now, and I'm glad that they're getting a chance to experience capitalism right now, because it's interesting to hear some of the business people talk about what they're doing and how they're vying and competing right now, whether it is in agriculture and other areas. They've made major investments in their city, in cities, the big cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg. Moscow, I think, and purposely probably because that's their capital city, they've really invested in their underground transportation, their subway system, and they keep the city very clean. And St. Petersburg is just a beautiful city. It's an old traditional city that was where the czars sat a long time ago, and some outstanding museums and churches, and the Russian Orthodox faith, and the synagogues and the mosques. So that is it's on rivers, so it is very European looking. Very cold, though, because it's the far northern part of the country, and it borders Finland. But we were fortunate, too, but most of the time the temperatures were in the 70s, which is good for that time of year here. Yeah. You had some great temperatures here. But
Joe, it's been unbelievable here. And we're going to, again, today, back up near 90 degrees today, and then that's going to fall off. Sit tight. A quick break. I'll come back. I want to talk to Anne-Marie Talercio. Do I say her name properly?
I think so, yeah.
She, Joe, is with, she's the president of the CNY Area Labor Federation, and this issue of a conventional, a constitutional convention, which is on the ballot. A lot of people talking, and I see a lot of no signs.